another episode of SubSecond. This is Hema, the Enterprise Manager of Team Nautilus. And joining me today is the co-founder of Fireflies and a two-time world finalist in the F1 in Schools World Finals. It's Mr. Vishal. How are
Hi
you doing
guys,
today?
all good, all good. Happy to be here. Always happy to be associated with F1 in schools.
Yes, that's true. So what year were you in F1 in Schools?
So, just to correct you, I was just a one-time world finalist in 2015.
Oh, okay.
2013, I was in. We just went for national finals, and it was a very. So in our year in 2015, I think there was no national finals. There was a direct presentation style selection because we had come third place the year before, and then the next year. Sorry, this was 2014, not 2013. My bad. 2014, and then 2015, as I was just graduating high school, they had a presentation style selection process for who's going to rep UAE that year, and we were selected for that. And then 2015 we went to Singapore for the world finals.
Oh, that's so cool. What do
Yeah.
you mean by presentation style?
So it wasn't like that year for some reason. I think there wasn't a national finals. It was just they had called upon the teams that had potential from last year who wanted to continue this year again and who at least won some awards or something. So we had come third that year in 2014. So they called us back to compete, and we gave a presentation on what our outlook for World Finals would be, why we should be selected, a couple of designs of the car, a sponsorship strategy, everything. So it was mostly based on that. They would, and I think two or three teams were selected from UAE based on those presentations to go to Singapore.
That's great. What
Yeah.
was your team name back then?
It was 21 meters per second.
Oh, that's a really smart name.
Yeah. I think it's self-explanatory, but for the non-F1 schools people, it's just basically to beat the 1 second barrier. That was, I mean, back then that was our goal, so that's why we were called. And we took it over. I mean, I took it over from my seniors, so it's like a legacy team in our own back then. So it was started by our seniors, and then another senior continued for 1 year, and I was there. And then after that, we took over completely. I think for another 1 or 2 more years it continued, and then I don't think it exists anymore.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, that's every team's, I guess, goal to
Yeah,
reach the sub-second barrier
yeah,
and
yeah.
break it.
Exactly. Yeah,
Makes complete sense.
yeah.
So how old were you when you entered the competition?
So I was, oh man, gonna make me feel very old. I was 16 when I just started hearing about F1, and then I think 17 when I competed for the World Finals. Yeah, and 16 when I competed for the national finals.
That's nice. And what was your role back then?
Both years team manager, and I helped mostly with sponsorship, project management, all of that. I wasn't really involved with the design or engineering bit. There were way more smarter people than me doing that, but yeah.
That's Dhruv in our team. He also
Okay, great.
manages our team.
Nice. Okay.
How's it
Yeah.
like managing everyone? I'm pretty sure it's a task managing everyone.
So I've always been a fan of being in leadership roles in school. So I wasn't, I mean, I started off as I don't even remember what my first role was. When I took over, I think I was a sponsorship head or something. And then I think the senior in the team who decided to continue with us for 1 more year, got too occupied with schoolwork. So randomly on a group chat one day, he's like, "Vishal, your team manager now," and I was like, "Okay, that's great." And it was nice. It was my, I think, because there's money involved and everything. It was my first sort of proper experience of managing a team with real consequences involved in it. I learned a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of personalities you have to deal with. And we're still very young, right? 16, 17. You don't know what you're doing sometimes. At least I didn't properly. So it was a big learning curve for me. It was a very good experience. There were a lot of mistakes that I made as well, which I learned from. There were a lot of, and as a team also, we grew from it. But it was definitely, I tell everybody even now when I go for workshops or talks, that F1 schools changed everybody's lives. Whoever entered that competition came out a very different person. So yeah.
Agreed. And specifically with sponsorships, I think people
Yeah.
go into the competition thinking about sponsorships one way,
Yeah.
and then through the journey, it just gets tougher and tougher and tougher.
It's a task, especially again at that age. For like, I don't know, like our budgets at for nationals, okay, it's still fine, but for world finals, it's such a huge budget you have to somehow source being 16. or 17. But it was fun. I really that I think that's the part I enjoyed the most. That is approaching these big brands, convincing them to, sponsor us. That was my first stint into the real world, the corporate world as well, and then set up the base for my career as well, I would say, in many ways. So yeah,
That's really nice. I mean,
yeah,
okay, I don't think it's the same for everyone because as an enterprise manager, that's something I do not look forward to at all.
fair enough, fair enough. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Sponsorships is just it sometimes can be really rewarding, and sometimes it's
No,
just
I understand the pain. No, yeah, it's pretty difficult. But
it
it's
does.
again, everything's a learning curve, right? That's the whole point of
Hmm.
F1 in schools, that you're put into that into this just to learn from it and grow from it as a person. And is Paul still around? Are you guys still working with
Yes,
Paul?
yes, he is. He
Wow,
is.
okay, the guy's a timeless person. So yeah, even back then, he used to tell us all the time that, you take all the learnings from what you guys got from this competition, apply to your real life, which worked well for so many of us. I think all the people I know in the team are doing such great things in life, and I'm sure F1 in schools contributed to that in one way or the other.
Hmm. Hmm. Agreed, agreed. F1 in schools is definitely something people or students at least they learn a lot through.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a competition that is there. But just talking about sponsorships, so back then when you were in F1 schools, clearly later as you've grown up, you must have realized many mistakes that sponsorship managers still make now in terms of ROI or giving back to the sponsors.
Yeah.
So what do you think those main mistakes are that any student or any sponsorship manager entering into F1 in schools should avoid, including me?
Okay. See, I think there's no so there's no a set um, pathway with sponsorships. I think everyone has their own journey, but I would say because it's more, I feel it's more of a CSR angle for a lot of brands. It's not marketing in
Agreed,
general, to
agreed,
be honest,
agreed.
because a lot of brands, to be very honest, don't benefit from a marketing point of view in this. Like, okay, you put their logos there, all of that is fine, but when you get into the real world, you understand that's not really going to make a huge difference for them. The CSR angle of them supporting a young team representing the country is what your selling factor is going to be. So when you're approaching brands uh, from the get go, who you don't know anybody there, and are getting through to the right person is important. So reaching out to the marketing manager, CSR managers of all those companies are the most important thing. Is the most important thing, and then pitching it from a CSR point of view, I think will help a little more because brands would see it that way than a marketing angle. And obviously, in terms of ROI, I think thinking about what you'd give back from to them, not just in terms of putting logos everywhere, but content. I think content's gonna, like, now at least, back then socials were just still booming, right? Like Instagram was just coming up, Facebook was just coming up. There was no concept of TikTok and all that. Now brands want all kinds of content to boost their social. So if you guys can promise them set number of photos, set number of videos with their logos there, talking about the brand that they can use on their socials, that's going to be a game changer for them. And that's what's going to put them in a better light in front of their audience, right? And I think second thing is approaching the right kind of companies. I try to reach out to every single company known to man, but it's better to be a little more narrowed down with who you're approaching. So for a lot of the times, I was pretty ambitious and audacious. I went and reached out to the likes of Mercedes, BMW, all of them, and did get calls and conversations with them because I think they were just impressed with the fact that a 16-year-old picked up the phone, called the reception, and asked to connect to a marketing manager. And I think even the receptionist felt, I don't know if it was pity, but they were just like, okay, you know what, I'm just going to connect to you because you sound passionate about it. But I think obviously it didn't end up anywhere at that time. But I think now that you have LinkedIn, that's going to be an important tool reaching out to marketing managers. It's such a great platform. I wish we had LinkedIn properly back. It was still there, but I didn't utilize it to the best of my abilities. Only after that year did I start looking at LinkedIn properly. But so I think approaching the right kind of people, approaching it from a CSR angle, and thirdly, keeping your ego aside and maybe approaching friends and families contacts first. Because at the end of the day, if you know the person, you can cut down the waiting period and, like, trying to get a meeting, trying to get this thing. Because what, you guys have 3-4 more months left, right? So we don't have a lot of time with this. Like, you're in such a time crunch of getting that money, and you need to pay bills now, right? You have to, like, start manufacturing cars, testing it out, and all that costs money now. Like, there's no point in getting the money in September, October, right? So I think if you can reach out to friends and family first, that's what I always tell them. Your school contacts, if they can send an emailer out to all the parents saying that our teams are, repping UAE, we would love it if you can support us. Just getting that first call through that way, I think that would be also another approach I would take. And yeah, just being confident, being very clear on what you can provide them. In terms of ROI, I think, yes, mentioning the attention that F1 in schools gets is important because at the end of the day, it is a prestigious competition, one of the biggest STEM competitions in the world. So for any brand to be associated with that, it's great. But then the last thing I would also say, which is very, very important, is think of resources you can get from people, not just money. It's a lot easier to convince brands to give you free stuff than to give you money. So, for example, for your uniforms, if we went to Puma and Puma was more than happy to give us jackets, shoes, anything that we wanted, right? So, if you approach, let's say, the likes of, I don't know what else you guys need, even for a pit display, maybe you can get a bigger discount if you can let them use your content and tell them that, hey, we supported the next gen with their pit display bit. So even TVs for the pit display, for example, if you're using, if you go to the likes of a Hisense or a Sony and just ask them, can we just get a TV? That would be a lot easier to convince because they don't have to write it off in their finances that, oh, or convince their managers that, hey, we need to pay these people this much. They'll be like, why? But if they go and talk to them about, hey, these people are just asking for us for a free TV, that's going to be at a prestigious competition. They're going to be like, yeah, of course, give them a TV or two. So make a list of things that you need. Instead of spending money for it, go and think about, can I get it for free from somewhere? And that will be a lot easier to convince people than money. So yeah, those are a couple of the pointers I would say.
Agreed, agreed. And thank God to LinkedIn. I mean, we were able to connect to you through LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. LinkedIn is it's just separate from F1 itself. LinkedIn is such an underrated platform right now.
Yes.
You can like 99% of my business as well right now came from LinkedIn. Being able to connect with the right people, talking to them seeing my work, all that helps. So yeah, so such a every I think every sponsorship manager or anyone looking to get in a good career needs, and you guys as well should just be on LinkedIn. It's so important.
It's so important.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah,
But back then, I guess LinkedIn, of course, as you said, it wasn't really available. So
yeah.
did you just go through mailing and calling people, or
Yeah.
did you take any other
I
tool?
think LinkedIn was there, but obviously we weren't really exposed to it as much, right? We knew
Mm-hmm.
about the platform. Like I just had a profile set up. That's it. But I didn't know how important it was back then. I
Yes.
was just literally day and night calling companies with in their landline numbers or sending emails to their info emails or trying to get a contact through an uncle or a friend for the marketing heads. And it did help. Like I approached over, and it's a numbers game, right? I approached over what I think close to 500 to 600 companies in a month, and I got 5 to 7 replies back. And out of those five, maybe one of them decided to meet me. So it's a numbers game. And at that time, again, because you're so new to these things, there's not nobody really to guide you also on what to do or how to do it. Like I didn't have a lot of people telling me like, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. So I was just learning it on my own. I used to call also randomly and get. There was one point where even my sponsorship manager, then both of us just wore suits and walked in. Like there was a lane of companies in I think opposite Dubai Airport Road. We just walked into each company and just started talking to them. There was at one point we even did that. Like for like 6 hours in the heat, we just go into companies one by one, talking to them. We also did it in Jebel Ali as well. We just walked for like 6 hours because I don't know why we thought that was a good approach. We also did that. We just went into each company one by one. Even the security was confused. They were like, "What are you guys doing here? Do you have a meeting?" I'm like, "No, I just want to meet them." They're like, "That's not how this works." But then again, because they saw that passion and like we were just kids back then wearing suits and stuff. They were just like, you know what, go in. And marketing managers did come and like they were excited to see that passion. So we even did that. But again, obviously that's not a good approach. At that time, we thought it was a good approach. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's dedication, just walking in the heat and like going
Oh
to company.
yeah,
It's really, really time consuming.
it
I
was.
mean, each and every team spends a lot of time. When you were in F1 schools, was that the only project you? Because I feel like most of the teams, that's the only project they can really involve in. F1
Uh,
schools really consumes your time.
yeah. So in 12th, and obviously, I'm sure you guys are in the CBSE school, right? Yeah.
ICSE.
ICSE, okay, fine. I think that's even more difficult than the
Yeah.
CBSE. But yeah, CBSE for us was like traumatic, if I can say that. But there's a lot of things to study and learn. So, and I was a science major back then too. So I like, but I really liked being in extracurriculars because that's where I thought I learned way more than I did in my classrooms. So I think I was there in class for like 30% of the year. I don't think I was there for more than that. So F1 was for the when I was in 12th grade, that's when I did nationals, but it got over by the summer. So that was the only project I was focused on. After that, there was like I don't know if you guys still have World Scholars Cup and all that. So we used to take part in that. There were some other competitions like debating. I was in the student council, so events and all of that. But I took part in World Finals right after I graduated. So just before I went to uni, that 1 week when uni started, I went for World Finals and came back. So I had like 6 months before university started, I was working on World Finals. So
Oh, yeah, that's
yeah, that
great.
was like my project before university started. Yeah.
How long were the World Finals? Just the
20.
event in general.
Oh, how long was the event?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, similar to yours, it was like a week, but we stayed back for the races back then. So it was like 10
Hmm.
days we were in Singapore. Um, and 2015. Yeah. Yeah.
What was the experience like back then?
Oh, it was great. Like I keep telling people, like it was one of the most difficult and life-changing experience for me personally. That 6 months because it again set myself up for my career, and I'll tell you how. Um, and I joined engineering first for a week, and then I went to World Finals in Singapore, and the experience completely made me drop out of university and then join a business major because I knew that's not what I wanted to do. Because that it's like being there amongst 150 kids from across the world, and it was like personally we didn't do that well for a lot of reasons. And we our car, the I think in the second race itself it broke down. So literally, we didn't have a car for the next four races. So without a car, we still beat half the teams. So we came like 27th in the world out of what 40 or 50 teams. And I was imagining if we just had a decent car, we would have come top 10 in the world at that time.
Agreed.
So it was good, but yeah, it was heartbreaking at that point because you spend 6 months of your life working on it. You obviously want to get that world champion title and come back with the first UAE team to do it. All of that. We worked really hard. I think the entire team worked very, very hard. But but yeah, the experience was great meeting, like, and we were talking to all the teams before we reached there as well. There was a Facebook group at that time, I think. It feels so long ago, a Facebook group. But all the teams were in there talking about their experience. And so we were talking to like teams from Canada, teams from Europe, and it's nice to see them face to face finally. And I think it was great. Like, it was just a great experience, like shared love for a project from different cultures across the globe. I had a really good time. I learned a lot from different people. It was my first trip as well, like, out of Dubai properly. So, yeah, it was great. I had like, and back then they were all my good friends too. So we had a good time in Singapore. Got to see Maroon 5 live for the first time. So concert wise also, that was really cool. That was my first concert as well. So it was a lot of life changing. It's first for me. And at that time itself, I dropped out of uni while I was there. I told my parents as well, came back, told them that I can't do engineering. I need to get into business or a marketing major because I think that's where my passion is. And luckily they were okay with it. And then I started applying to business schools because of that. And then, yeah, and I don't think I would have made that step if I didn't go to Singapore and have that experience. And that, again, completely changed my life because I started my business because of that. Now I'm running a business because of that. So, yeah, it was great.
So I definitely say that's a positive change.
Yeah, 100%. It was, yeah, like when I'm saying this as well, all the memories keep coming back of that 10 days and that 6 months we worked on it. And I think, yeah, it really set us up for life in a different way.
Agreed, agreed. I was just talking about Fireflies. How's that been so far?
It was great. Again, like, there's a lot of parallels of what I was doing. I've always loved the process of, approaching companies, especially big brands, convincing them to work with us. So Fireflies has been close to a 2016. now it's 2023, what, 7 year journey. We started off as an edtech company for a while. Spent about 3 years while I was in uni trying to make that work. We were the finalist of a lot of startup competitions in the region. Yes, especially like incubators as well, like 500 startups. It's one of the biggest incubators in the world. We were the finalists for that, for the Saudi, this thing, Sharjah Entrepreneurship Festival, one of the biggest ones in Middle East. We were the finalists 2 years in a row, and the youngest ones by a margin of like 8 to 10 years. So it was great. It was again a good learning experience. The whole idea was that F1 changed our life because it taught us real world skills. So we wanted to bring in more experiences where can we get companies into schools to teach students about real world skills. That was the basic concept out of it. We got a lot of attention. We had like 40 schools involved, 20 universities involved. We had an MVP release, but then just after I grad, and I was doing a lot of other things on the side too, but that was a main focus. And then just before COVID hit, we realized it wasn't making money. So obviously, you come a point where you need to start paying bills. And then we shifted to becoming a marketing agency where we were helping brands reach out to Gen Z and engage with them and market to them. So we became a Gen Z marketing agency. And then we became a full fledged marketing agency. So for the past 3 to 4 years now, it's been functioning as a marketing agency. It's been great. We've had we've worked with really big brands like American Eagle, Victoria's Secret, Yamaha, Logitech, a lot of local names like Live Bank. We manage TikTok accounts for a lot of the big brands here. We do influencer marketing across Middle East and Saudi, UAE, Qatar. So yeah, it's been great. A lot of things I learned from F1 did help me set the business up too, and my co-founders as well. So they were also from an F1 background, and that helped. I think it just really, although it was a long time ago, it I think the base was there because of that.
That's great. That's great, and I'm so happy to see Fireflies doing so well.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Because yes, again, F1 in schools really does help you a lot. And this is one thing that I've also understood, that just when you're in class and when you're taking business studies or subjects like that, you just learn formulas or theories. But in
Yeah,
F1 in schools really like helps you put that to life and
yeah, the
gets you
practical
to,
stuff.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's really great for public relations also, because you understand human nature
Yes.
and
Yeah.
how different people respond. Because as a
True.
sponsorship manager, you're going to come across a lot of
Yeah.
different people.
Oh yeah, agreed. Yeah, so many, so many. I think people skills are the most important thing in any career. Like no matter what you're doing, how good you are with people is going to make a huge difference. The kind of opportunities you get, the kind of like we have that whole introvert extrovert thing. But in today's world, even if you're an introvert, you really need to be able to be good with talking, speaking with people, forming that good social etiquettes. And I think that only came by participating in competitions like this, because you come out of your bubble. You're not in that same rut of doing things. You're forced to put yourself out there, work with different kinds of people as well. I'm sure as a team you guys would have had differences of opinion. How do you manage that? And how do you come together as a team to make sure that doesn't affect your relationships as well? So it's great. Like I think in every point of view, it really helps for sure.
Agreed.
What's your opinion or view of like the evolution of the competition, like since you went and today, like it's been a decade?
Yeah, almost been a decade. Yeah, you guys are making me feel old just by saying pointers of this thing. I like how you're stressing. It's been a decade. No, no, it's I've been so to be very honest, the last couple of years I've been a little out of touch with the competition. My we used to, I mean, we come to judge some of the years. Like I think the last time I judged nationals was 2 years ago. I was there for Formula Itara and then F1 and School Nationals also. I came to judge. So I used to try and keep in touch with Paul and with the team. So whenever he needed judges, I used to go. I know my co-founders are a lot more involved. Like they still judge almost every other year. And yeah, and it's personally from what I saw, like I think our year was the year that for the first time in their history, the 1 second barrier was uh, it was defeated by one of the teams. Like they broke the 1 second barrier. I think I don't I, the team that won that year. I don't remember what team it was, but I think it was a collab team as well, wherein it was two countries together, which was even more shocking for me. Where it was I think Germany and some other team. and it was amazing that that they're from two different countries and they came together to make a car that broke the 1 second barrier. So that year was a big shock for us because like it was the first time. There was a lot of excitement, a lot of hype around it. Then I think a second team in the same year broke that 1 second barrier too. So we were like, wow, like this is good. And then I think that 1 second barrier became a joke from what I know, like because
Oh,
after
yes,
that
yes, yes.
almost every year that the team started breaking it, and I was like, wow, people are getting smarter and better at this every single year. I think from what I've seen, in terms of evolution, again, like I said, I've not been keeping in touch for the last few years or so, but I know for a fact that things would have evolved a lot more. Like I know the way that you guys approach sponsors, the design aspect. I'm sure from a car as engineering aspect itself, I'm excited to see what the difference was from the year that we did to the year that's when it's like you said, it's been 10 years of evolution. So must be something really great. I would like, I sometimes wish I could go back like every year to just be a part of that competition vibe because it was so great. And but yeah, hopefully maybe this year or next year I'll come and judge or something. I don't know if Paul calls me back. Yeah.
He hope he does. So when you're judging, oh, you judge mostly enterprise
Yeah,
nationals?
I've done mostly what's it, the verbal presentations. That's
Oh,
mostly what I've done.
right.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. Verbal presentations are also pretty important. How were your verbal presentations back then?
It was great. Like I said, I think that's the thing. I think Enterprise was what 400 out of the 1,000 points in World Finals, and
Mm-hmm.
I think we hit like 350 or 360 out of that, which was close to being a number one team. I think that part we did. I think confidently we did very very well. If it weren't for some small things that didn't go away, like for example, how we delivered the pit display, I still remember being the issue. So you have specifications on how you can deliver the pit display into
Yes,
the
yes.
venue. And we are told that. So what we did was we didn't make the pit display in Dubai. We asked them to make it in Singapore, the same company, so that we can save on costs instead of shipping the whole thing there. So a company in Singapore made up a display, and then we thought it would be much easier. And we had given them specifications on how to send it, so that like it's according to the rules. They didn't do that, and that cut us like 6 points. Otherwise, we would have won pit display of the year also. I mean, the pit display award too. It was just because of that 5 points. I remember we didn't win that award. And this was in World Finals, so I think that was really good. In verbal presentations, I know this is very cliched. I cringed thinking about it this time, but we did magic in our verbal presentations, which was hilarious. I don't know how we did it. I don't remember what exactly we did, but like at one point we had switched off the lights and stuff and had like lights spring up and all that. I think that also the judges were just so confused, but they were like happy it was something very different. So I think that also went well. We did well in both of those aspects. And then just generally our sponsorship portfolio, our pit display, everything had like I think we did a really good job in that front. But yeah, I think even car as a design, I was very happy with the kind of design we had made. Our engineer was so talented. Like he did such a fantastic job. It was just that some things didn't go right in terms of how we manufactured it. So that's the only reason. I think otherwise that would have also done very, very well.
That's great. Just hearing you talking about all this just makes me think the amount of history that F1 in schools alone just has.
This is
And
just me. Like the competition's been there since 2000, right? Like it's like 2, 3 decades
oh,
of history that this competition has, and I'm sure like many of them have gone to back to maybe work. I know a lot of the winners are now working in Formula One itself,
mm-hmm,
which is
mm-hmm.
crazy. In F1 teams, maybe who knows? So it's nice, yeah, really to see what the competition has done for people, and yeah.
Agreed. Yes.
How's your experience been? Like, I feel like I know this is more of an interview for me, but
No, no, it's all cool.
I'd love to hear from you guys. Like, what's the experience been like? How was nationals, and how long have you all been in the competition for?
Yeah, we joined in 2022, August,
Okay,
2020. No, not 2022. Sorry, 2021. We won in
okay,
2022.
nice.
Yes, so it's almost been about 2 years this
Okay,
year in August. And yes, Nationals was, I remember just thinking about sponsorships at the beginning. And when I just heard my seniors brief me about it, I thought it would be so easy.
yeah,
Like companies would just come and give me money. But
yeah,
then as I went into the competition, sponsorships and just enterprise as a whole got harder. And
mhm,
specifically with World Finals, there's so many more factors. There's
yeah,
sustainability,
Yeah.
which is a huge, huge.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What sustainability? How is sustainability involved in it now?
Just everything. So teams nowadays they try to include sustainability, just reducing their carbon footprint, for example, or
Okay. Wow, I didn't know that.
inculcating it in I think it started in 2021 World
Nice.
Finals. Yes,
Okay.
that was something that was introduced back then. So sustainability and just trying to make your own car sustainable. Like last year
Okay.
itself, they made a car which was super duper sustainable.
Okay. And
Uh,
is the material still the same? I remember we were the first year to transition from wood to something else. What is it now? Is it
It's
some?
a foam block, and
Yeah.
then like we can 3D print. So yeah, as for sustainability, like there are many teams with like sustainability 3D print, like they use recycled plastic and such. So
Okay.
and even this year for the fit display, we have to carry it by hand, so that decreases the carbon emission of shipping it.
Whoa. Whoa. That's a big challenge carrying it by hand. Wow. Okay.
Exactly,
Wow.
exactly.
Okay.
And on top of that, I just think there's a car also. I'm not sure if you've heard, but there's a whole new halo system, a stopping mechanism, a driver's helmet. So the
Oh,
car, yes, the car itself has evolved so much this
there's a
year.
driver's helmet.
A
Can you guys
driver's
show me
helmet.
what the latest car looks like? I don't know. Like I would
Yes, I
love to.
guess. Dhruv, can you share your screen? He showed you. He has
It'd
it
be
in front
so
of
exciting. Wow, I didn't know all that.
Yes, so there's a whole new halo. There's a driver's helmet. So yes, the regulations have really changed.
That's insane. I remember the regulations being tough back then, so I can't
Yes.
imagine what it is now.
Oh yes, there's a new nose cone challenge. So
Oh,
you remove the nose cone and you put it back, and whoever does it fastest gets the nose cone award.
whoa,
Yes.
wow, that's okay then. Crazy.
So that's different also. Oh yes, I also want to ask you this. What was one of the fastest reaction times during your time?
Uh, I don't remember to be honest, but I remember. Okay, so that's one thing I'll take credit for. I was there in the top 10 for the reaction timings, and I wasn't supposed to do it. It was someone else, but in the last, I've never do reaction timings for some reason. I like just never. I just left it to one of our other people who did it well. In the last few days before traveling, I was just bored, so I started doing that, and my timings were way better than his. So he's just like, "Why don't you just do it now?" I'm like, and I've never done it before. Even for nationals, I don't do it. And I remember our senior had this very cool way of doing it. He put it behind his back, and
Oh
he'd do
yes,
it.
yes, people do
Yeah.
that.
So like he used to be the cool dude who used to do that. But I just had a process of listening to music and doing it. So I think at that time for a while I was second or third until some other people came. But I remember being the top 10 for the action timings too. I don't remember what it was or how much it was, but yeah,
Yes, yeah. Reaction times also have evolved a lot.
yeah,
Just
just
people are
think a
just
lot
getting
about
smarter
it.
and quicker year by year.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can really imagine. After the call, I would love if you guys can share with me your new car designs. I would love to see how it
Yes.
be cool.
I'll send it to you. I don't think he's able to share his screen right now, but
No worries.
Ah,
No, that's fine.
I I don't have the like we can't share the latest card design, but definitely we'll send it to you.
Okay, okay,
yeah, it's a
fair.
secret which yeah we'll send it to you personally.
Oh, right. Fair enough. I didn't realize. Okay, cool. And what's been uh, if you can all go around and tell me what's one thing that you guys have learned from it, like since you've joined, like that's helped you out in your real life or in other aspects of your life. Actually, what's it been?
As a like team, like I am the team manager like right now, and previously for Nationals I was a manufacturing engineer.
Okay.
I think F1 has taught me patience. Like, not everything has to go right, but
Yeah.
like whatever goes wrong, it'll all come together in the right time at the right place. You
Yeah.
just have to be patient and work through it. So like, you learn that okay, if this is wrong, what's the next step? So you have built contingency plans, and so that's definitely like improved like me as a person. It's like when I go to school and see obstacles or anything that comes on, like now I know like how to handle it and to be patient.
Yeah. That's
Yes.
that's great. That's really great. What about you, Hema?
Personally, for me, again, as I said, just understanding human behavior, sponsorships and enterprise as a whole has really taught me how human behavior works. And just with enterprise, one of the things that I look forward in my job is marketing. So I love just organizing activities or coming up with plans and strategies. So yes,
Great.
that's something that I've also really evolved on, and they helped me understand one of my passions, and that's something F1 in schools has really helped me develop on.
This is such a good marketing content for F1 itself. They're gonna like milk this really well. Um, and I don't know your actual name.
Yeah, my name is
Yeah,
Gaurav,
got
but
it. Okay,
then it's my,
Maestro.
yeah, Maestro. It's like my
Oh,
Google account. So yeah.
nice. Okay.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from F1. Firstly, like my confidence has increased, not the most, but slowly it's increasing a lot. And obviously, I've learned a lot of new softwares, and I found a kind of a passion to making Blender renders, like 3D models and all of that. I just like to make them, like even for fun.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just like them. Also, you asked how long it's been since we have joined. I'm a new member, so
Oh,
like I
okay.
wasn't there in national finals.
Right.
I recently joined. I'm the
That's
graphic designer also.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah,
That's great. See, you guys are already getting skills that people learn in universities or after university. So you're ahead of the curve already, which is great. And do you think you guys have at least have a fair idea on what you want to do in your career because of F1? Like now you said you love blended and coming up with design. Do you see yourself in design or
yeah. I see myself in design only in the software field, designing somewhere.
nice? And it's a growing industry, so that's great. And Hema, I think you're still in. Is there anyone else I'm missing? I see a second, fourth account.
Oh no, that's
Yes,
the thing
he's
for
one of,
recording.
yeah, it's
Oh,
for
okay, okay.
recording.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. So yeah, Hema, are you getting into marketing or are you still thinking about what you want
No,
to
actually, that's very controversial because most of my team members they're doing something in the science field in the competition and doing science field outside also.
do? Yeah.
But I'm in like the enterprise field in the competition, yet I'm doing
Okay.
science outside the competition.
Oh, are you? Okay. Same. I did that too. Yeah. Fair. Okay.
It's very different, but again, it's just I feel like it helped me again because in university I'll probably anyway learn about science. I probably won't be able to get those and grasp on those marketing skills.
Okay.
But without having a degree, I think I've just understood the basics of marketing in general through F1
Fair
in
enough.
schools.
What are you majoring in right now in science?
I'm just in 11th grade, so I've taken PCMB,
Okay.
and yeah, I'll just be working on that in 12th, and then let's see
Okay.
what I do after 12th.
Fair enough. Yeah. Take your time. You're still young. You have a long way to go. And Dhruv?
Uh, I don't think Hima's is controversial compared to mine
Okay.
because before the competition, I was actually going to go for medicine. So,
Oh
like, this
wow.
is totally out of my way.
Yeah.
But through F1, like, like it's open. I'm definitely not going to engineering because I'm not smart enough for that. But
I
I'm
think you're doubting yourself, my dude. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah. So like I am thinking of like, business, like marketing. So maybe leaning towards that, but
Okay.
I'm not decided yet. Like it's
Fair.
through F1, like, you learn that there's like, before like there's like lawyer, doctor, engineer, and then through F1, like you see there's so many different avenues that like you yourself
So
discover.
glad to hear this. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
still thinking about it now.
That's perfect, guys. This is exactly what a senior would love to hear when people say that they're in F1, that there's so many avenues out there. It's true. Like now that I've been in the career space for the last 5 years now, I'm telling you guys, the opportunities out there in terms of career is like there's so it's not even scratched the surface. Like there's so many things you can do. It's no more the fixed path that you might have been told that exists. There's just a lot of different avenues. Gaming is a career now. Um, and all the things that you thought were not practical, like film, sports, all of those are practical career options now because of the opportunities that exist. So, and it's also great to hear that you guys are still deciding. Don't rush into what you want to do. Like you still have a long time to figure it out. I know a lot of friends who have gone that path of, even now, like at 26, 27, they're shifting careers. So there's no need to jump in and rush into anything. Learn from all these experiences, have fun. That's the most important thing, guys. Like, I think that's one advice I would give every team too. I think I was so focused on winning that at times I forgot to have fun because the competition was, it was a very fun experience. But, because you're so determined to win and make a huge difference in this thing that you tend to forget to have fun along the way, and that applies to every aspect of your life too. So whatever you're doing, especially with F1, when you're even if you get rejections, and like you said, it taught you patience and stuff. Think of everything as fun. Like, even if it doesn't work out, it's fine. Like, you still have a long life ahead. And him, I think just in 11, so you can participate in more finals again if you want to. So, yeah.
Yes. 100%. I think, yes, 100%. But yes, thank you so much for coming today
problem.
and just telling us about your experience. It really means a lot. Not only through a marketing aspect, but just as a team, I guess it's just helped us so much just with advice.
No, I'm glad. Thank you so much for having me. This is a great trip down memory lane to relive all my F1 experience. And after this, also, if you need any help, anything that we can assist you with, let me know. I'm sure, like from a design and engineering point of view, I don't know, like if there was a team member of ours who was excellent at it, but again, I feel like it's evolved so much since we've left. So I don't know how far we can, like, we'd be relevant to give you advice too. Like, I think you guys will do a way better job than we did. So good luck with everything. And yeah, keep in touch if you guys need anything. That'd be great.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks so much.
so
Thank you.
much.
Well, thank you again for coming. And with this, we come to the end of the second episode of SubSecond. Stay tuned for the third episode coming 2 weeks after. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.